speaking of media, do you want to talk about the freak out of people with interest rates to cover higher interest rates to cover lower interest, or what was it? Oh, people with good credit scores are now paying for people with low credit scores, and the debacle and the stuff that went out about that.
I feel like people would rather be angry and ignorance than get the answers and the true information. You know,
Right.
I was for, I swear it was like a week and a half. My post, the mortgage mentor, Mandy Mortgage, that one damn ginger, I was
Yeah.
reposting our 5 videos all over the place, trying to no. First of all, it's been in effect since February. The May
Right.
1st time frame is when the loan would have been sold to Fannie or Freddie or somebody on the secondary market.
Right.
So it had to be put into account months earlier because it takes time for things to close and then get sold. Were told in January, and we all looked into it. And the only thing that caused this all an issue was the changes that they're going to do for loan to value and DTI, because debt to income ratio is the biggest problem outside of cash to close for people to turn around and buy a home. But all it did was get rid of the loophole that if you put down 19% instead of 20%, you got better terms for your loan.
Right.
And it reduced that if you were a 680 or a 650 credit score, you having to pay $4,000 to even get a rate. It's the loan level pricing, it's the basis points. And yeah, all these people who are talking about it that do not have a license, did not go back to the website, go to Fannie and Freddie. First of all, it doesn't count if you are a first-time home buyer. It doesn't affect you. That loophole is still there if you want it. It doesn't affect you if you're under 80% of the area median income. It doesn't affect you if you are using Home Ready or Home Possible. There are a bunch of waivers, and then there's about $2,000 worth of, things that you can get if you do these certain things. So everybody's forgetting, who it hurts? It hurts somebody who's buying a second home. It hurts somebody who's buying an investment property. It hurts somebody who's high income and this isn't their first home. And I started seeing those in early February. They're going to make you put more money down in order to be able to go conventional. And it doesn't affect HA, doesn't affect VA, doesn't affect USDA, and it doesn't affect non-QM. It's only conventional.
Okay. Thank you for clarifying that, because I saw your video and I was like, I'm just going to keep reposting this because I'm not qualified to speak on this. It's obviously really apparent there's a disconnect between, again, what's being put out there and what's actually happening. But I will say it was kind of discouraging because I feel like in our country, we talk about helping people and digging in and stuff like that. But when it comes to digging in and doing something that maybe you have to give up in order to help someone else, everybody's shut it down. Nope, not doing it. I don't want anything to do with it. And then they get all ragey and angry. And I'm like, wait a minute. First of all, what was reported wasn't even correct, but it's nobody wants solutions to help if it's going to affect them in any way. That was just the response is what made me disappointed in how people view how to help others. You know what I mean?
Yes and no, because of the fact that, quite frankly, the news is just a big tabloid at this point in time. I'm fully convinced that nobody's doing investigative journalism anymore because
I will say my BFF at the Business Insider is one of my favorite people who actually digs into this stuff. He did that. He's the one that did the article about junk fees the other day, but go ahead.
Yeah, I'm talking about mainstream media, not system specific or career specific. I'm talking about mainstream media. I think it was USA Today fully admitted that they don't have journalists on site anymore. They just pick whatever the headlines are and just rewrite it in their own voice. They're not, nobody's fact checking, nobody's doing any, because it's simple. So the way the media portrayed it, they flat out said, those of you with great credit scores are now going to pay for those people with lower credit scores.
Right. Or there's $40 flying around. You what?
Yeah, I understand why they were angry. They were telling them you're going to pay more per month. That's not what it is. They were telling them you're subsidizing lower credit score people. You're not. They were saying, I heard one flat out say, if you have a bad credit score, you're going to get a better rate than somebody. No, no.
Yeah.
Have you seen the actual chart?
Yeah. It's like a tiny, tiny section, like a tiny little red section, correct?
So that's the heat map of what changed. That's not what the
Okay.
actual map is. So
Ah,
I actually emailed you a picture of what the actual map is.
okay.
And when you look at it, yeah, if you're putting down 40% and you have below a 639 credit score, yes, you're getting better terms than somebody that's putting down 20% that has a
Right.
760 credit score, because there's a far less risk because you're
Right.
only doing 60% of the loan. You know, it's, if you're on the low end, I mean, it's red, it's ugly, it's hot, but it's basis points.
Right.
It's basis points. And as a loan officer, when I first started, nobody explained basis points to me, and I didn't fully understand it until I came over to Nexa. So trying to explain it to the general public is
Yeah.
it's insane. So it basically, instead of me being able to get you $2,000 in lender credit, I might only be able to get you $1,500 in lender credit, just because of the basis change if you're not in that. But everybody wants to show the heat map of what changed versus the heat map of what it actually is.
Right. And who it actually impacts.
Yeah, I just
Yeah. I don't
drove
know.
me insane.
Between like that and the 40-year mortgage thing, I was like, where are people going to get their information from at this
40-year
point?
mortgage was
I'm just going to stick to, oh, go ahead.
the 40-year mortgage was actually far easier to undo than this craziness.
Right.
The 40-year mortgage was far easier to undo, because as soon as I pulled up the one screen, oh yeah, it does say modification. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Now they got to backpedal. I'm not going to do it. Yeah. The one was like, you're going to pay $40 more. I'm like, oh God, this is going south real fast.